Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast, NWA Power Review, which means only one thing. Adam Cousins, and joined by my NWA Ride or Die, the woman that is trying to match Tom Latimer's suntan, Miss Fiona Lockran. Evening, Fee.
Evening, darling. You all right? We've had
Oh,
2 weeks of amazing weather, so
yes.
I've been making the most of it.
2 weeks of sunshine equals British summertime. It will
A
be.
good tan for me.
Yeah, it is. It is. The first thing I said when you hopped onto Zoom was, "Wow, you're looking sad." But Fee, how have you been?
I've been all right. I'm hanging together.
You're hanging in there. That's all that matters. And we're going to talk NWA right now. Of course, that's what we do. Well, before we get into power, Crockett Cup was this past weekend. Look, there has been a lot of pictures and videos and that out there, but it seemed to go down very, very well, all things.
It really did. Really, really did. From the bits and pieces that I've seen anyway. Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I hate the wait.
Yeah, we're not even at hard
It
time.
was it was a long, long night by all accounts, though.
Yes, it certainly was. By all accounts, I saw a lot of stuff with Natty, which was great. I can't wait. And apparently that match with Kenzie is amazing. So,
So I've heard good things. I had some friends that were there at the show, so
okay.
yeah, they were buzzing afterwards, so that's good.
Brilliant stuff. And then, of course, to the news that we don't really know if it's good or not. It's the news that NWA are streaming, seem to be streaming, sorry, on Roku, the app. Now that is in the US and Canada. Which what we don't know and what it doesn't state is whether power is going on there. I did reach out to the NWA myself. I've got no response, and I think for what we're lacking at the moment with NWA is clarity.
Yeah, I would say so, very much. I can't get the Roku channel. I've got the Roku app, but I can't access the Roku channel on it because it's not available over here. I haven't started mucking about with my VPN that I had to buy for last time when they pulled a stunt like this. Um, I really don't know what's going on with it. I mean, I'm hoping that it will be available worldwide, but I was also reading a couple of places that said there's going to be old episodes of Power, potentially some of the old live events, some stuff from the vault from way back, which would be absolutely incredible because it means you'd get to see all the stuff that you've not had a chance to see yet. You could go back to the early Power days and see what kind of got me hooked back in again.
Yeah, hopefully it is that. I mean, it would be difficult for us. I mean, I did try Roku through the the thing that I had, the VPN that I had. I mean, obviously there wasn't anything there because it hasn't aired on it yet. So hopefully a bit more clarity. I have heard the same thing as what you did as well, which was nice. But it'd be good for NWA to come out and say this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Just for us, really, well, not just for us. I mean, international fans in general. We all had to say, me and you had to do it by, shall we say, a little bit
Dodgy means.
dodgy means to get it. But yeah, let's hope so. Anyway, let's not dwell on that. Let's get down to action. Tag team was starting this week. Daisy Kill and Talos, our good friend Daisy Kill. We can call him a friend now because he's been on against a new team. We've seen him a few times. It was
Yeah.
Damien Fen. I can never pronounce his name. Fenro.
Fenrir.
Fenrir. Fenrir. And Dante Casanova, who's the NWA
Mm,
Midwest champion. He's Exodus Pro. He's going to be at the Exodus Pro show this Friday, which you can all stream for free on the NWA
that's exciting.
which should be good. Um, I enjoyed this. I always thought in this one, I kind of gathered who was going to win because obviously we're moving into Crockett Cup season.
Hmm.
And the tag teams that are usually tag teams would get involved. But I actually enjoyed this maybe more than what I thought I was going to. Daisy Kill and Talos have grown on me now. I'm starting to, we was all sitting there going, not sure, but they're growing on.
Yeah.
But I really like Casanova, in this.
I thought they both looked great, actually, Damien and Dante. I know that, like you said, we've seen them before, but it's been a long time.
Yeah. Mm.
It has been a long time. I don't know whether I don't imagine they normally tag together, but they actually did all right. Although there seemed to be a little bit of um maybe miscommunication, a little bit of mistrust between the two of them,
Yeah, did
which would
seem.
make me think that maybe they haven't really tagged before and they were still trying to sound each other out, so to speak.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, we say it is Crockett Cup season, so they may have been sort of thinking, well, let's try and get into the Crockett Cup because of the prestige. It would have been a great thing. It's a great thing for any tag team to be in.
Yeah,
The ones that I mean, it's been a while since we've seen Daisy Kill and Talos in all
it
back.
has.
You
It
know,
has indeed.
no, I like this. It was a good tag team match to start the show. It actually got me really into it, which was really good. But of course, if you're gonna, one thing you never take from Talos is a power bomb.
You don't want to be that high up in the air.
You
Let's
don't.
be honest.
You really don't. And he did hit the power bomb, but Daisy covered, got stole. I don't know if that was, I'm not sure who the legal man was in that.
The whole issue with the accordion coming back out and everything. So,
He's
little bit of shenanigans going on, as there always is in tag team wrestling, which I love. So,
he's definitely a master of all music, isn't he, Daisy?
he is. He really is.
He never played a song for us though.
No, he did not. We need him for that.
Disappointing. But let Daisy Kilton Talos head into Crockett Cup season with a victory. Look, Hard Times is hopefully coming up on some point.
Well, yeah, because this whole show was back at the power station in Tampa.
It
So,
was. So I'm hoping we get to Hard Times reasonably soon. But we can't go anywhere on Power at the moment without Aaron Stevens being. And he's now talking about being an entertainment icon. There's too many different varieties of ice cream to choose from to describe himself. So Jeremiah Plunkett said that he's like dark chocolate. He's a good for you, but he's a little bit better, which I thought was great. I like that line.
yeah, that's fair, I think.
Aaron Stevens said he's was it a mocha gelato with chocolate
I
sprinkles?
lost track at that point.
With chocolate sprinkles, maybe some marshmallows and some whipped cream. Was
Sure, why not?
Tommy Ron just basically said he loves Aaron so much, which I thought slime balls
Yeah,
getting
it was,
involved.
and obviously you got the ultimate compliment from WPC, who said that he dresses nice, which I'm
Yeah,
sure he was very thankful for.
and
He
of course,
probably is the smartest dressed man in the NWA at the moment, to be fair.
well, yeah. To be fair, and he probably is. And actually, the funniest one was Tom Latimer, who said Aaron Stevens would be a mosquito because he's a blood-sucking parasite.
Yep.
Good old Tom. If you're going to get, I
You,
think that's a
you might
compliment,
as well
really.
tell it like you see it. Tell it like you see it.
And then Tom ended it with, it describes what a friend should be, and therefore he couldn't be friends with Aaron Stevens.
He's honest.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get an honest and blunt answer out of Tom. If anything, I love this stuff that they're doing with Aaron, and
Yeah, it's been fun so far.
it has the only thing that's gone a bit quiet is the Page sisters stuff. The Page house. That's gone a bit.
I'm sure we'll see more of that soon.
I'm sure.
Although let's be honest, it's NWA and they might just have popped that to the side and forgotten about it.
Might have joined Chef Carson and Only Slams on the shelf for
You
now.
never know.
For now, anyway, we don't know how long we don't know if it's going to come back on or not. We'll wait and see. Obviously, we had the shop where you can buy NWA merch. Go and get some. Danny
How
did
many shop ads were on the show this
quite a
week?
few.
There was like four or something, wasn't there?
Maybe
Maybe
the
five
maybe Danny Dills isn't done enough, and he needs to.
to punt some wares.
Maybe. But we did get back to the NWA Television Championship that's currently held by CBD, Carson Bartholomew Drake. This was his seventh match.
Yeah.
For those of you who've been living under a cave and don't know what this is, it is a lucky seven rule, meaning if you were a champion and you win seven matches, you get the right to cash in that opportunity at the heavyweight championship. But to do that, you have to relinquish the television championship. So this was Carson's final test at
It was
that.
indeed.
He can't lose. That's the thing. So just remember, he can't lose. But he had two daunting opponents this week in Pretty Boy Smooth, who was with EC3 and Exodus Pro's NWA Territorial Presidential candidate, Pastor CeeLo,
After Philo, yeah.
and of course, and someone else we haven't seen in a while, the Baron.
Indeed. That's a triple threat and a half.
I think it's a triple six because when, when you got Smooth and the Baron out there, that's like two each.
Yeah, fair point.
That they're huge, and to be fair, it was that type of match as well. It wasn't one for the faint-hearted, shall we say?
Yeah, and just to note as well, this did have a 6:05 time limit as well. So
It
they had
did.
to be they had to be smart how they played this one.
Very much so, yeah. 6:05 limit because it's a television championship as always. It was quite interesting on this. I mean, Baron did try go for a claw a few times in this, like he always does,
Yeah.
and absolutely should do. Do you know what? For two sort of big men and Carson Drake, I actually thought that it was again sort of. I went into it with decent expectations, but I think it over delivered really for me this one.
Okay, that's not a bad thing.
No, and that's never a bad thing. It was always nice when you're quite surprised by a match being better than what it should. Now we did mention about the claw, and there was also a pinfall in this match, just as sort of Drake falls to his knees and hits the mat as he locked in the claw. The 6:05 limit expired.
I know. I really thought he was going to tap, man, a couple more seconds, and I think he would have lost that match.
I agree with you, and that is the thing with the television championship, and that is also the thing with the championship advantage because that 6:05 limit means Carson Drake was successful in his seventh match,
Indeed.
which means,
But
but
no, I was going to say, obviously, Beretta comes out before that,
he
and that was
does.
how he wound up, the whole distraction and everything. So,
Yeah, he tried to have worked with
inter
Pretty Boy Smooth, didn't he?
yeah, yeah.
Yes,
So
very
Brandon
thankful.
Beretta came out, and this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, the last time we saw him, was he partnering with the Baron?
It was at Forney in Texas, and it was Bam Bam Malone and Baron Von Storm
That's
versus
it.
Pretty Boy Smooth and Brandon Beretta. So
That's
this
it.
is where it gets interesting because Brandon and Baron were on opposing teams last time, but it
Mm.
was actually Beretta that out to kind of get Baron to release the claw with his little globe.
Yes, it was, which is
It's
wondering.
interesting. Like I said, they were on opposing teams and they seem to have formed some sort of alliance of sorts.
Brandon and Baron.
Um, yeah.
It could be Triple B, Brandon Beretta Baron.
Oh, it's hard. That doesn't really roll off the tongue though, does it?
B and B.
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, Brandon basically kind of gave Carson the release that he was needing.
He certainly did. And the fact that he really needed it as well, because as you said, he was very close to tapping out
Yeah.
at this point of the show, and we could have been crowning a new champion.
And we all know that Baron will not let go of that claw once it's locked in.
Once that thing is locked in, unless that globe is there and that globe is put into him because he wants the whole world in his hands, you're never going to get that claw off of anybody.
You really aren't. You really aren't. But he came out of it fairly quickly this time because if you don't know if you noticed as he was leaving the ring, he even actually managed a couple of high fives. Was a bit confused looking, but managed a couple of high fives to some of the fans. So that was quite interesting.
I still think
But
he
I'm
had.
intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what happens with these guys, whether they're going to tag moving forward or whether it was a one-off.
Yeah,
There's something going on there.
something's a brewing with that. I do think Baron's still got one of the best music and entrance musics. I just think it's great. I know it's the
Very military, isn't it?
very military, very Gunter type as well, a little bit. But with that being said, as like we mentioned, Carson Drake at Lucky Seven, and it doesn't take Carson long. Of course, it doesn't. I mean, he's going to get on the mic, isn't he? You
Of
can't beat
course
him.
he is. And that stupid laugh. Oh my God, I hate his stupid laugh.
If you want to hear his laugh, you can watch our interview because he does it nearly every time he talks.
He just thinks he's the funniest human being in the world. And you're just like, Carson, shut up.
Yes, that's exactly right. But um, basically, he doesn't think that Latimer can beat him.
He's either brave or stupid.
Maybe a bit of both.
More than likely.
I agree. We obviously we don't know when that's going to happen, but have a feeling that it's going to be happening rather soon. With the seven, did he take him on hard times? Sure, he did.
No, hard times was Rhino and
No.
Cole. No, that was at the weekend, wasn't it? I can't remember. Do you know, say because the stuff's been recorded so far in advance and it takes us so long to see it, I lose track of things.
Hmm.
I really, really do. I'm sorry, I have no idea.
No, I agree. I agree with that. I'm pretty sure he does. I'm pretty sure he does cash in at hard times. From memory. You are right though, because we're so far down the line now, and hard times just feels like a distant memory, really.
That was the way back in March. It was like the 19th of March or something like that.
Nearly been 2 months,
Two
over two
months.
months now.
Yeah,
So I think next week we'll be at hard.
I hope so. I really hope so.
We need to be. I mean, it's getting too far. Anyway, we did say that we wasn't finished with Aron, and he then talks about, obviously this was after another shop thing, another around the territories and whatnot. More on the territories near the end of the show, by the way. Um, he then says about he's talking about the NWA Championship. It's a mountain he'd love to climb, but well, I mean, he keeps on about this. We've not seen Aron and Latimer yet.
Yes, but we will.
Did he said that Aaron Stevens did say that he's ready to receive his flowers, and the flowers look like the £10 of gold.
Yeah, I'm not convinced, Alan.
And he's going to attack Latimer in a way that doesn't even exist yet to take his place in history.
Interesting. But do you know what was even more interesting in this whole segment?
I was just about to say, and if the segment couldn't get any more
Yeah. So what
interesting,
was more interesting about this whole segment was the appearance of
the
Mr.
Overman.
ECD, the
Yeah.
Overman ECD, yeah, who was very complimentary of Tom,
Mm.
but called the title our title.
Mm.
And then comes out with it on the 365th day, I will rise again.
The 365th day, is that 77?
I think it might be.
Because wasn't that when Latimer beat him at 76?
Yeah, it was.
So
It
he's
was. So
are we heading towards an EC3 Latimer rematch at 77?
that could be interesting. But he definitely sounds like he's coming for it. And he's also said to Tom not to underestimate Aaron, though.
He did. And we did get the news that apparently is that match not next week on.
It is indeed. It's
And
next Tuesday on Powerr, which is awesome.
is it got a name? Like a
No, not yet. It just said Tom versus Aaron next week.
okay. There was an on my notes here. I've got
Last week he said he was wrestling him. Aaron said he was wrestling Tom in his own house. But we were discussing about what context that meant. Like not physically in his house, but or maybe it was going to physically be in his house, or is it going to be in his house metaphorically? So
yes, we will wait and see if we do get one of those weird matches that we used to see with the late great Bray Wyatt at Wyndham Rotunda. Cinematic was the word that I was looking for. Would we get that? But is that going to be at hard times? I mean, oh, I don't know.
I have no idea.
Do you know what? It could be one of those matches that has been recorded, like because it's a cinematic one, it's been recorded and they didn't air it, obviously at hard times because it didn't need to be aired because it was a
Yeah,
match, in a warehouse somewhere that they've decorated as a house or something along those lines. So that may be the reason.
don't know.
Well, that's a reason for everyone to go to the NWA's X account on Tuesday, 6:05 Eastern,
Absolutely.
11:05 UK, 11:05 p.m. UK time to watch that, to see what unfolds next week on Power. But we haven't finished this week on Power
Yay,
yet.
more tag matches.
Another Crockett Cup-esque style tag match because we are in that season. And one of those matches, we're gonna have the big meaty men meat slapping kind of match, which was a
hmm
main event. We had Mims, who's been on the show. We've had Blk Jeez, who's been on the show. We have had Slade, who's been on the show, and we have had Mike Mondo, who's been on a show of mine, the Hitting a Turnbuckle interview. But they were with El Jefe.
Little Rolando, bless him.
Little Rolando was back. I don't know. Oh, of course, the Spectaculars.
Hmm.
Ah, Mike Mondo would make a spectacular. Come on, he was in the Spirit Squad.
Yeah, he was a very different Mike Mondo back in those days.
Yeah, he wasn't built like a brick shithouse like like he is now because he is
I
a.
just on a slightly different note, talking about Mike Mondo being in the Spirit Squad, I actually watched that match with my son, my 16-year-old, and I was like, "Do you know who that is?" And he's like, "No." I was like, "That's Mikey from the Spirit Squad." He's like, "No way!" And like, I had to pull up photos and showed him, and he was like, "Oh my God."
He is a big old bit of meat now, isn't he, Mike Mondo?
He
Looks great
really
though,
is.
to be fair. Looks great. And again, another really enjoy. It was like the tag matches were kind of they're both very different because of the different styles that you had in there, but
Hmm.
equally both really fun and enjoyable because we had those. So sometimes you get two or three tag matches on the show and they're all the same because
Yeah,
the tag people in the ring are all the same height, weight, and again the styles are the same. But these were two different. These were like four different teams,
yeah.
really. In a lot of ways, come together. But this was great. I love this. I like. It's been a while since I've seen Black Jeez in the ring.
It's been a long time.
I
Yeah.
don't think I was watching it when he was in the ring. I don't recall. I don't.
So no, it has. It's been a long, long time. It's really good to see him back wrestling, considering all the stuff that he's been through and everything. So, I was excited to see this, and I love like he's kind of been in Mims's corner for
Mm,
quite a while now, but they've not actually tagged together, I don't think, before.
don't recall.
So it was really, really interesting, and I think it was Billy that had basically said like that Jesus had a definitely had an influence on Mims and how Mims approaches his wrestling and stuff. And I was like, yeah, you're not wrong there now. Because this is a Mims that didn't exist a year ago.
Yeah, we interviewed Mims when he was champion. Oh, he is still champion. Sorry. We interviewed Mims when he was champion, but it was before Black G's, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Just before, maybe not. No. Anyway, yeah, it is a totally different Mims. The Mims that we saw, as you say, a year or so ago. He snapped on his partner, if I remember rightly.
He did indeed, yeah. Right through the set in the studio.
Yes, that was it. I do remember that. This was great. Mondo and Slade. I said they're my sleeper pick for the Crockett Cup, and I just think that, like as I said, Mondo's got the size, but Slade has got everything.
Oh my God. His technical ability is unrivaled, I think, in NWA.
I, I don't think Billy can wait or shouldn't wait too long if they're going to do anything with him, because I don't mean this in a horrible way to NWA, of course. If anyone is going to get signed from the men's side of things from to company elsewhere, there's your man.
Yeah.
The guy's incredible. He's absolutely incredible. However, it was Slade and Mondo that gets the win. Mondo hits the gut check on G's for the victory. So
I- yeah. And I was going to say, I think G's got the roughest ride in that match.
he did. He did, bless him. He was in there.
He really did. He took a bit of a doing. But for a team that haven't tagged together before, Slade and Mondo gelled so quickly, so
Mhm.
smoothly, so well that I think they'll be fairly unstoppable.
They're going to be a team to beat, if
Yeah,
anything.
very
That's
much
what.
so.
But it didn't end there because Mondo decided he was going to put Black G's in the Boston Crab,
I know, that's mean. Why do that? The match is over. You won. Give it up. Walk away.
and
What
then
is wrong with people?
well, I think he was trying to trying to prove a point to Mims because if my memory serves me right, it's Mims and Mondo at hard times
Yep.
for the championship. So that's probably the reason why Mondo done it. He left. Mims did have to break it up. Mondo wasn't getting off of that Boston Crab anytime soon. If you got
Oh, that was not. I was not okay with that.
no, I wasn't either. Um, but that was the end of the matches on Power this week, but it wasn't the end of the show. So they took us to earlier in the week. I'm not quite sure that the Decision 2025 debate was held in the ring. Joe Garley in there, Kenzie Page, Joe Kazana, and Pastor CeeLo. Um, he said that Paige said that she would initiate change in the NWA by providing flights, limos, and money.
Okay.
So Kenzie's now
He needs
taking
to
the
substantiate those claims, but
yeah. Let's have a look here. I'm just reading up my notes. Kazanis has always been in the NWA and will keep things going how it is. Apart from the fact he owes about $4 million in bribes.
steak dinners and Chiefs tickets and God knows what else.
Houses on beachfronts and then
But
past
they're not bribes. They're not bribes. He's just taking his friend out for dinner or buying his friend a gift. You need to
and,
remember that.
and it's all done by the book.
Of course.
Of course it is. If you believe that, you will literally believe anything. But CeeLo will bring enlightenment, the holy word, and everyone can imagine. You've got to believe in Pastor CeeLo, and the future will be beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not convinced by that either. And neither is Joe. Called him a
No,
shyster.
no, Joe is not in there anything. And Joe also did mention about the bribery and promiscuous, and Kazana said it's blasphemy. What?
Well, that's it. He's just buying gifts for his friends. Why can you not take your friend out for a good steak dinner?
Well, you can. But hey ho. And Kenzie Page said, everyone knows who to vote for her. That's there you go. Well,
I know that she was our HTTB pick, so
she was our listeners' pick. I mean, my pick. Yes, I endorse Kenzie, but she was
come back, Trevor.
Trevor. Trevor needs to come back and put himself back in. I mean, Idol's definitely gone now. That was obviously
Yeah,
by that, but a thoroughly entertaining NWA.
it
Uh,
was this week. I enjoyed it.
Power this week. I really did enjoy it. Now, apologies first off for the lateness of recording. I had to dust off a trophy cabinet yesterday. So for
Well done for your team.
those of you that don't know, myself and Andy, who does the show, are big Tottenham fans, and it's the last time Tottenham won a trophy. I had one chin, and I wasn't a dad, and I had a bit of hair. 17 years. I was still in my 20s, believe it or not.
Couple of years ago then.
Couple of years, that's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. But anyway, so that was the reason for the lateness of this. Now, however, I did mention more about territories coming back, and Fee, I've been rather busy as well this
So I've
week.
heard.
I've mentioned to you a little bit, but I do have to announce the return of our Talking Territories series on the channel starting next week. We're recording it next week. We're not going to bring it out next week, but we're recording it next week. And we just mentioned one of the NWA presidential candidates for the territory president will be on this show. We are going to be blessed by Pastor CeeLo next week. He may not be happy with us because obviously he was the first one voted out of our
That wasn't me and you.
yeah, we might have some splaining to do
That
next.
was not us. That was all these people out here.
Pastor, don't blame us. Forgive us, though. We haven't sinned, but we would like forgiveness.
Not in that way, anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe some other way. We're not going to confess our sins either next week, but we do have the pastor joining us next week. There is other names as well. I'm not going to go into them at this moment in time just because they're not quite, we're not quite there in terms of dates and times. But having said that, there is a name potentially coming up in a few months who is an NWA legend. If we manage to secure, which we can't, at the moment we wouldn't be able to say whether we're going to get him or not.
Stop dangling carrots, damn it.
It would be one of the biggest NWA guests that we've had on the show. Literally, and B, just for the fact that it would be an amazing guest if we could get him on. But more on that if and when we do. But next week, hopefully, we can announce some more NWA guests. And I must, before I forget, obviously we're getting closer and closer to our 1000th episode of the podcast, or the 1000th bit of content, shall I say. Now, with that in mind, and as everybody knows, I have been getting some people people have been sending in their congratulations. I have another one here. I can't play it because last time I played it didn't quite work. So you're just going to hear from this person. So just bear with me 1 second and I will play it.
What do you do when you're having a bad hair day? You grab some old hats. Good old merch here from the NWA, and it's Joe Galley with the NWA here. And I want to give a special shout out to Hitting the Turnbuckle, 1,000 episodes. And you guys have been supporting the NWA throughout that time, had plenty of our stars on your episodes, so I want to say thank you for that. And congratulations for making it to 1,000 episodes. Or podcasts. Both. I guess it's both.
There he is.
Oh, that's quite sweet. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. I will compile all this videos and put them out as a special later on. There's more to come. There is one more, I think, NWA guy we haven't had yet. But Fee, look, how busy has one been and what's going on in Fee world?
One had a really busy weekend with shows Friday, Saturday, Sunday. At the weekend there, I was with Pro Wrestling Scotland, W3L, and then I went to Valor on Sunday, which was so good.
Did you say hello to the guys at Valor for me?
I did say hello to the guys at Valor, so they're all good. And that was fun. This weekend I am with Premier British Wrestling in Maybole and Ayrshire on Saturday. And then I have the rest of the weekend off, so just a wee one weekend show. But next week we are taking PBW on the road to Campbelltown, which is about a 3.5 hour drive. It's literally from here to here on the map, but you have to go all the way up here and come all the way because there's
I
no
remember this. Do you do this? Is this a yearly show?
We do it once a year, yeah.
Yes.
So we're in Campbelltown. We're in Campbelltown next Friday on the 30th. So looking forward to that. It's always a good road trip.
Yeah, I do remember that road trip last year. I'm sure we did have this discussion.
Yeah.
This time last year, and it was a ton of fun if I remember right.
It was, but there's loads and loads of stuff coming up soon. Like I should probably have listed them all, but honestly, W3L are busy, PBW are busy, Pro Wrestling Scotland busy, Valor, I've got some great shows coming up. I have just gone on to join Scotia as well, wrestling, so we'll be starting to MC for them.
Ooh.
We've got some shows with them coming up in June, I think. What else? Main Event Entertainment next Saturday, actually. I can't believe I nearly forgot that. We're in Clydebank with them on Saturday next week. So yeah, busy. Good times.
Busy. That's why I need to. I'm so happy I can say this. I need to congratulate the new Hitting the Turnbuckle champion, Aluna, for this past weekend. 2.5 years of hard work in Ignite has finally paid off. She beat Mark True, who listen, graceful, well, as graceful as Mark True can ever be. The show itself on Sunday was unbelievable. We had a last man standing match. Wow. I mean, I don't know. All I would say is when Ignite put it out there, just go check it out. Taylor James, successful in that, and he's cashing in his opportunity at Tommy Kyle in July at Breaking Point. Everything comes to a breaking point, and it is in July the 13th. I'm just looking at the ticket map at the minute. You better get in there because it's already half gone. We're not even a week out of this event. That just shows you the quality of matches. And I did also announce that a Buckle Up Free, September the 21st. I did say that I did make an announcement at the show to say that Ignite Wrestling and Hitting a Turnbuckle will be crossing the line with TNA Wrestling at the show in September. More on the name probably in July. Just I can't announce it now. I did say on the mic card subject to change, because we don't know. But as it stands right now, a TNA wrestler will be joining us and Ignite on September the 21st. So we're very
exciting.
We are very much looking forward to that. And just a bit of breaking news before we're going off the air. WrestleMania 42 has been pulled from New Orleans.
What?
No longer taking place and next year.
What happened?
I haven't seen the full previous.
No.
It's
Oh, like that, like literally, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God, I know people that have booked flights and stuff and accommodation already.
yeah, I'm just trying to get the info up.
Oh,
The local New Orleans government or organization have said it. I'm just trying to get a
yeah.
story up to read more.
I'm just gonna have a quick Google on my laptop
So
as
back in
well.
February, the Rock showed up to make a shutdown. New Orleans apparently will host Money in the Bank instead of WrestleMania.
So where's WrestleMania gonna be?
There has been rumors that a future WrestleMania will be going to Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
There's also been rumors that WrestleMania is coming to London.
I wouldn't have thought next year, maybe the year after.
But nevertheless, WrestleMania will not. I know this is NWA, but it will not be in NOLA next.
WrestleMania. What is it next year?
42.
42.
42. 4 and 2. Like bingo.
Yeah. Yeah, so top it's a top story on Google anyway.
Mm. So
Wow,
those of you that
okay.
book flights, better cancel them.
I don't know if the flights are available, but I know that folk have sorted. Ah, that's such a shame. And there was a direct, oh, I think, was there a direct flight? I don't know if there's a direct flight from the UK. That's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that also though might be quite good for me for going.
Maybe. We don't know who's got it yet. So
Yeah.
watch this space,
Wow.
as you like to say, Fee.
Wow, there you go. That really is a hot off the press.
It's in the turnbuckle, baby. We don't get much hotter than this, right? But no, it is a breaking news story. I can't really talk about it anymore because I don't really know. I'd say give it another hour or so and then take another look at the news to see what's happened, what's happening with that. But as it stands right now, WrestleMania not in NOLA next year.
Wow. That's a
But
shame. Nola's a great city.
it is. It really is. But anyway, on I'd say on that bombshell, we will leave NWA for the week. We'll be back next week, hopefully, for some hard times. And if it is, well, not even if it is, next week, Fee, are we going to do this again?
Let's do it again.
Double next week, Pastor CeeLo as well in the recording booth. But until next week, if you're an NWA fan, this has been the NWA Powerr podcast with Miss Fiona Loughran, with me, Adam Cousins. And until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe. Goodbye.